Chapter 3 Accidental Enemies. By the end of the week, Jude, Zara, and Callum were ready to go. They said goodbye to their Slate Creek friends and relatives, leaving them with a cache of supplies and last-minute advice. Camo probably doesn't care about First Nation land, and if you stay in the hills, they should leave you alone. They're after farmland and maybe minerals, Jude explained. The flight was not Zara's first goodbye, but for Jude and Callum, it tore a part of their soul to watch Slate Creek fade away from view. Zara knew the feeling, and without saying anything, she took Jude's hand. "I know you love the dirt, but Mom and Dad need you," Jude explained to Callum. "I know. I'll take good care of them, I promise," Callum reassured Jude. When the transport touched down in Vancouver, they began the process of grabbing their bags and finding a place to put everything until they found Rod and Marin and a permanent place to live. "Don't worry about your things," came a sharp, clear voice over the transport engines. Jude turned around to see an NADF lieutenant and a squad of soldiers waiting for them. "Hello, Jude, Zara, and Callum Kane. We've been waiting for your passports to pop up. They've been flagged for almost a year now." Here are some insights. The Sparrows decided to go ahead and advise all the SACs to be proactive and say, hey, the NADF is likely coming for all of us, so let's be smart. Let's think ahead. Let's leave before they get there, because if we do, then it's a lot less likely that anybody will be killed. It'll save lives. It'll avoid violence. But also, there's a lot less chance that people will be detained. If they have to remove everybody from a SAC, they don't want to do that. A lot of them will resist. And, if they're not killed, they could easily be jailed for who knows how long. So if you leave and set yourself up in a city ahead of time, then when the NADF shows up to take over your SAC, they'll just take over the land and give it to Camo, to Consolidated Agricultural and Mining Operations, and you can avoid more trouble that way. So why did Slate Creek decide to evacuate? Well, they took their own advice. They knew they were coming. So they decided to take their own advice. Although I don't think they anticipated getting arrested as soon as they land in Vancouver. But remember, right after Jude and Zara got married in Silence of the Sparrows, they went on that honeymoon, which was really not really a honeymoon, but a way for them to be out of town or away from the SAC when the NADF came up to get them. And remember, the NADF said, look, we want them, but we're not going to go chasing them down in the mountains of Cascadia. We'll just flag their passports, and as soon as they cross a border somewhere, we'll grab them then. And so that flag is still there. So when they land in Vancouver, sure enough, the NADF is waiting for them, and Jude, Zara, and Callum are now going to detention again. One thing to think about before we move on to Chapter 4, and as the SACs are getting taken over, Adams and President Connor were talking about eliminating the SACs, not just because President Connor didn't like them and he thought they're a threat, but also because he really doesn't like the Sparrows. They're kind of the realization of that threat to his power. And Adams said the most realistic way to get rid of the Sparrows is just to get rid of the SACs, because the Sparrows were there to help the SACs. So when the SACs are gone, there's no point in the Sparrows. But is that really true? Well, let's take a look in the next chapter and let's see what the Sparrows begin to do now that the SACs are being taken over. What's going to be their role? Are they going to go away? Or is it the beginning of something new? We'll see in Chapter 4.